Most played MMORPGs 2023 by TheLazyPeon. Let's see what he's got for us.
Nobody wants to play a dead game, and that's even more true when it comes to MMORPGs, as half of the content in these games straight up don't exist if there's no players to group up with or compete against. So in this video we're going to list the most played MMORPGs going into 2023, the MMOs that receive the most updates and are most likely to maintain a solid population throughout the year. For this video,
we can pretty much guess what these are going to be, but I still kind of want to see what he has for us.
I will not be using any of the data from the website mmopopulations.com, as this has to be one of the most misleading websites I've ever seen, and the data makes no sense. Look here, for example, this donkey website says that Ashes of Creation has 30k daily players, when the game literally isn't playable.
There we go. Now we know. Not reliable. Confirmed.
It says New World has between 250 and 450k daily players, when we can see the data on Steam charts that it's nowhere near this number. Most MMOs don't actually disclose player numbers, so I'll be using various other metrics to help me rank the games in this list. The most important thing though is that all of the games mentioned in this video have a large enough population size for you to fully experience the game, join guilds and beat the content. Star Wars: The Old Republic is a theme park MMORPG with a tab target combat system that released all the way
loading
back in 2011. Since then the game's had 8 notable expansions, with the most recent one, Legacy of the Sith, releasing in February 20.
Wait, Steam charts says peak is 6,850 players? That is not good. Average viewers on Twitch is 150 total? Watching people stream? Wow. Okay.
2022. SWTOR has done a great job of maintaining quite a steady player base over the past 10 years. The game is reviewed extremely well with 89% positive reviews on Steam, and the game has a lot of content. Expect a mix of both PvP and PvE with group dungeons, solo dungeons, raids, quests, PvP arenas, battlegrounds, PvP Galactic Starfighter, outfit collecting, daily missions, events, a main story with multiple choice dialogue options.
This, you can definitely tell by the graphics here that this game is kind of more in the realm of like classic WoW or maybe even retail WoW in terms of graphics. It's not very good. It definitely shows its age.
And player housing in the form of strongholds. When it comes to player numbers, no exact numbers are published, but based on a few stats, I'd personally estimate SWTOR has a concurrent player base in the region of 10 to 20k.
It's sad too, because oh man, the trailers for this game are so good. Like, they could really be snippets of an actual Star Wars movie, and then you get into the game and you see these like buttery graphics. Oh man.
Certainly enough players to find groups to experience all the content, but it's undoubtedly on a decline. If you want to fully experience this MMO, I'd say do it sooner rather than later, as this game might not make this list in the future. EVE Online is the oldest MMORPG on this list, and it's still going incredibly strong to this day. Thanks to EVEOffline.net, we're able to see accurate concurrent player numbers in real time for each of the games.
When did EVE release? I'm curious. I want to know. Let's see. EVE Online. Can we get a wiki? There's no way it was 2000. Okay. Yes, it was. That's insane. 2003. That is insane. It's been around forever. Wow.
Servers, and as of making this video, EVE ranges from between 20k and 35k players online at all times.
That's a lot of
Very
players.
impressive for an MMO that released all the way back in 2003.
Wow.
Over the years, EVE has received so many updates that it doesn't even look like a 2003 MMO. It's highly regarded as the #1 space sandbox MMORPG, and the game has a rich history with stories of legendary battles where players lost millions of of dollars worth of spaceships.
I've heard about this. I've actually heard about these crazy battles where actual players, like 1,000 actual players, will go into battles against each other in this game. It's insane.
EVE Online is a very niche MMO. You'll either love it or hate it. Luckily, it's free to play though, so there's no barrier to entry if you want to find out if it's a game for you. RuneScape 3 is another MMORPG that we have accurate concurrent player data for, and it usually ranges between 20 to 35k players online at all times.
But you got to discount about 10,000 of those players as being bots, of course.
For those of you who are unaware, there's two different versions of RuneScape, Old School RuneScape and RuneScape 3. RuneScape 3 is the least popular of the two, but still popular enough that it's receiving regular content updates and is likely to be around for many years to come. RuneScape 3 is a very different game to Old School RuneScape. Different combat system, more updated graphics, animations and effects, different skills and quests.
I tried RuneScape 3 for a minute. I mean, not a literal minute, but man, it was rough for me because I'm so used to Old School RuneScape. I did not like it. I did not like it.
It's more heavily monetized, and overall it feels like a near completely different game. Personally though, I think RuneScape 3 is still quite a good MMO, and where it shines the most in my opinion is in the fully voice acted quests, which is...
That's probably true. It probably is a good MMO, but you have to look at it from the lens of it just being an MMO and not being related to Old School RuneScape, because I guess that's why it's so hard for me. I try to think of it as like, oh, how is this, like, where are the similarities to Old School RuneScape? Like, what, you know, I'm looking for it to be similar and it's different, and it's just it's uncomfortable.
Just some of the best in the MMORPG genre, and the sense of progression you get from leveling your skills. It's a chill MMO that can be played on your second monitor, and it's no surprise to me that it's made this list.
Yeah.
Guild Wars 2 is one of the easiest to recommend MMOs out there. It's the perfect game to drop in and out of multiple times throughout the year, due to progression primarily being horizontal and not vertical.
Okay.
Whenever you come back to the game, it's easy to pick right back up where you left off, and you never feel like you're behind. As for player numbers, there's no disclosed information about this. The Steam chart numbers are useless since most people use the launcher, and the number on mmopopulations.com is just pulled from thin air. Personally, I'd estimate Guild Wars 2 to have between 30 and 50k players online at all times.
Wow.
If you go to guildwars2mists.com, you can see that there's a number of EU and NA servers that are straight up full, as well as multiple that are listed as very high.
Okay.
Anecdotally, whenever I play this game, even at 3 AM, you still get 50 player groups forming for the map meta events.
Yeah, so Guild Wars 2. Yeah, I tried Guild Wars 2. It seemed like it could be really fun, but I don't know. It felt different enough from MMOs that I'm used to that I couldn't get into it. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm not sure, but maybe I'll give it a chance again someday. I don't know, because it's free to play up to a certain point.
Very quickly. The game just feels populated. As for content, Guild Wars 2 has an amazing ongoing main storyline, dungeons, raids, equalised PvP arena, large-scale world vs world battles, fashion collection, the best mount system in the MMORPG genre.
I mean, hearing TheLazyPeon talk it up like this, it does sound like I should get back into it. It sounds pretty cool.
And epic map-wide meta events which usually end in a giant world boss fight. Definitely a game that's still worth playing.
Okay.
New World is an MMORPG that released in 2021 with a peak of 1 million players. Shortly after...
Let's remember, the peak was very fast and quickly dropped off dramatically.
Launch though, the game's player population plummeted for months,
right,
due to numerous issues such as game-breaking bugs, poor game design, a lack of content, and a damaged economy. Thankfully, since the Brimstone Sands expansion that released in October 2022, New World has clawed its way back from mixed to very positive reviews on Steam, and its player numbers have soared from 13k average concurrent to around 50 to 60k. Due to the...
That's pretty solid. That's quite the recovery. To be fair, this is not the only MMO that's had issues like that, right? Like, if you've heard anything about the Final Fantasy XIV issues, when it first came out, it was a horrible mess. absolute mess, and it was basically rebuilt from the ground up, and now it's massively, massively popular. So this isn't the first like MMO recovery story, so it is possible. An MMO is not dead just because it has a bad launch, but it is rough.
The fact this game is only available on Steam currently, the Steam charts numbers are an accurate representation of New World's actual player numbers, which isn't the case for most MMOs on this list. If you've never played New World before, this is an open-world action combat MMORPG with one of the best gathering systems in the MMO genre.
True.
A solid crafting system, voice-acted main questline, classless combat system.
Gathering always felt really, really good in New World. Like, it just, yeah, it was so satisfying.
PvP in the form of open worlds, arenas and battlegrounds, and PvE in the form of event world bosses, dungeons, and elite mob open world farming spots. I predict New World will go from strength to strength with each update, and this time next year will probably have even more players than it does now if it continues to release positive updates.
Yeah, as long as they keep working on the game and, you know, if they listen to the player base, if they listen to the community and actually make good changes, why not?
Elder Scrolls Online has been one of the most played MMORPGs ever since it released back in 2014.
We just heard a little bit about Elder Scrolls Online from the other video we watched.
It's an MMO that receives frequent updates, it's reviewed very positively, and receives plenty of coverage from content creators on YouTube.
Yep.
As for content, it's got stuff for both PvP and PvE players. You've got Cyrodiil, which is a massive open-world PvP zone with territory control and siege mechanics, battlegrounds, duels, solo dungeons, group dungeons, raids, crafting and gathering, player housing, an immersive main story for each zone, as well as world events.
It's really cool to have an MMO for the really dedicated like fans of this game like world, right? So all of the Elder Scrolls games, to have an MMO for that, so you can also interact with players and have a massively open world. I mean, it's really cool. I just wish the graphics weren't so bad. Yeah, it's just painful. Like, when this came out, there were already like for instance, like Black Desert Online, I think, was already out, or maybe it came out soon after. I can't remember exactly, but it's like you have way better looking games coming out at the same time as this, or around the same time, and this still looks this bad. Like,
This game basically has something for everyone. Elder Scrolls Online falls into the theme park MMO category, with an action combat hybrid system which some people find to be quite polarizing due to animation cancelling and weapon swap mechanics.
yeah.
As for player numbers, it's hard to get an accurate concurrent player count because this game is available on multiple different platforms and launchers. It's on Steam, but most people play through the ESO launcher,
Yeah.
and it's also available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Xbox Series XS. I'd personally estimate ESO to have between 75 and 100k players online at all times across all platforms.
Really?
Most importantly though, the game feels populated when you play it, and it's easy to find groups and guilds.
Okay.
Old
I would not have guessed that ESO was that popular. That's crazy.
School RuneScape is the most popular of the two RuneScape versions, with between 57k and 107k players online at any given time,
And expect about 20,000 of those to be bots.
depending on the time of day. OSRS is a game that I personally love, and it's an MMO that you can literally
Me too, man. Me too. It has a special place in my heart. This is the first MMO that I ever touched, and I played it a lot.
spend thousands of hours in to try and max out your account to experience all of the content. Old School RuneScape also has, in my opinion, the most top tier content creators on YouTube out of any MMORPG, with Settled's Swampletic series possibly being one of the greatest MMO video series ever made.
Wow.
Old School RuneScape is all about creating your own goals. It's a sandbox MMO where you choose what stats you want to level, what order you want to tackle the quests, and what restrictions, if any, you want to place on yourself. I've heard from many people that playing OSRS as an Iron Man where you can't trade with other players or receive help is one of the most satisfying MMO experiences you can possibly get, and it's something I plan on trying out myself really soon.
Yeah, I think I would like to try the Iron Man setup. That would be kind of fun. Just no help from anyone. Don't accept gold. Don't accept anything. Just go for it.
OSRS is available on both mobile and PC, and even in 2023, it's a super easy game to recommend. This isn't just nostalgia talking, by the way, it's objectively one of the best designed MMORPGs ever created.
It's still good. I can speak to that. It really is still good. I still play. It's awesome to be able to log in and just be like randomly clicking to mine or something like that while watching a video or working on something on the side, maybe editing or whatever. Like it's really nice.
Albion Online is one of the most successful MMORPGs to come out of crowdfunding, and since releasing cross-platform on mobile, the game's player population absolutely popped off. The latest numbers we have is from June 2021, where the game reached 271k daily active accounts.
Albion Online, really? Is this the RuneScape killer?
And since then, the game's had numerous massive updates which could have caused that number to go even higher.
Whoa.
When it comes to daily concurrently active accounts, and since then the
Watch the lady on the podium.
Game's had numerous massive updates which could have caused that number to go even higher.
Look at that.
When it comes to daily concurrent,
the physics on this style of graphics, I don't know, it just looks so funny.
Player numbers, I think a fair estimate would be between 60 and 120k players online at any given time.
Wow.
Whenever I play Albion Online, I go to a main city and there's so many players that not all of them even load in. This is because the game has one mega server.
Okay.
So everyone from Europe, North America and Asia are all playing together.
I do like the idea of mega servers. I actually like that. I like that a lot more than having, 1,000 player servers or 2,000 player servers or whatever. Put everyone on one server so you feel the vastness of the player base and everything.
Now this is great for the purpose of having a thriving economy and a world that feels rammed with players.
Right.
But depending on where you live, the ping can put you at a disadvantage.
That's
with
fair.
Servers located in Washington DC. Albion Online is a true sandbox MMORPG. All of the gear in this game is crafted by the players. There's certain areas of the world that have full loot PvP, and players can even buy the crafting stations in the city and get a tax kickback whenever somebody uses them.
Wow.
Over the years, Albion has added so much variety of content to the game that there's something for everyone. Solo PvP, group PvP, high risk PvP, zero risk PvP, and the same can be said for
That's pretty cool, honestly. I mean, yeah, they're really appealing to the masses.
or pure PvE players. I'll cut my rambling about Albion Online here, but TLDR, it's a highly popular MMO that has something for everyone, constant massive updates, and it's definitely worth playing.
Okay.
Black Desert Online. Love it or hate it?
There it is.
This MMORPG is absolutely huge. The only data we have for this game is the Steam chart numbers for NA/EU on PC, but that doesn't take into consideration that most people don't play it from Steam. The game's available on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, as well as multiple regions such as Korea.
Even with this game getting a little bit older now, it still looks amazing. The graphics, oh man, it's just I don't know what to say. I was so blown away when I first saw this game. Like, what? MMOs can look this good? Yeah. Black Desert, man.
Southeast Asia, Russia, Middle East, and South America. Across all platforms and regions, I'd have to estimate that Black Desert Online has at least 100 to 175k players logged in at all times.
Wow.
Possibly even higher. BDO is a Korean sandbox MMORPG with the best action combat system in the MMO genre. In this game, you'll spend a lot of time mob grinding, PvP.
It's true. I mean, you can't deny it. You get into this game and you play that combat, you feel how it feels, how impactful, the audio, the effects on your screen, just everything, the visual style. It's amazing.
PvPing with other players for your grind spot, leveling your life skills, building your worker empire, and trying to figure out the best way to make money on your 2,000 plus hour grind to maxing out your gear. At endgame, you'll be partaking in PvP node wars, castle sieges, dungeons, boss challenges, praying to the RNG gods for a tier 10 horse, or decorating your instanced player house for ERP underwear parties. Is BDO still worth playing? Honestly, that depends on two things. 1, have you got anything better to do? And 2, how big is your bank balance? Lost Ark is the most popular top-down MMORPG by far. This game exploded on Steam when it released in the West in 2020.
Also consumed by the bot problem, which is understandable because the game is hugely popular, right? So you want to mine with those bots, and you want to get all the materials, and you want to sell those materials for in-game currency, which you can probably sell whatever through some weird external sites.
Reaching highs of 1.3 million concurrent players.
Wow.
And that's not even mentioning Korea, where the game is also absolutely massive.
Dang.
Since launch, Lost Ark's player numbers have dropped, with one big reason being the devs constantly trying to combat bots, which some players claim account for 50% of the numbers we see on Steam charts.
I mean, I would believe it, honestly. I watched a video the other day, and the guy's just sitting there like, look at this. Look at these bots. They're unashamedly just standing there. And you can see it. It's like there's one guy off to the side, and then in the bot spot or whatever, there's like at least 10 just idly standing there. And that's just one spot.
In 2022, Lost Ark saw 260k concurrent players on the Korean servers alone following a big update. So all things considered, I think globally across all servers, a conservative estimate without bots would be that Lost Ark has between 300k and 600k real players online at any given time across all servers.
Wow.
NA, EU, Korea, Russia, and Japan.
That's crazy.
Now that number could be higher, but I think it's reasonable to put Lost Ark as the number 3 most popular MMORPG.
That's insane. That's a lot of players, man.
So is the game any good? Yes. As much as some people slate Lost Ark for being pay to win, I think by Korean MMO standards, the pay to win isn't nearly as bad as other games. In fact, I think you can fully enjoy Lost Ark completely free to play, or just with the optional subscription.
Yeah.
As for content, the game has a ton of horizontal progression.
I got that feeling too from Lost Ark. I mean, there's definitely store pages and stuff like that, but you don't have to look at them, and the game feels fun to play, free to play. I didn't get to like the horribly far off end game stuff, so I can't speak to that end, but the beginning and middle stuff is fun. Free to play.
Collectibles, completionism, equalized PvP arenas, the best isometric action combat system in the MMO genre, some of the best raids in the MMO genre, fashion collecting, daily bosses, minigames, mounts, and player housing in the form of strongholds. The game actually has even more stuff than that, but TLDR, yes, it's worth playing.
Dang.
Final Fantasy XIV. It's extremely difficult to even estimate the average concurrent player numbers for this game for the following reasons. The Steam chart numbers represent a tiny...
So, okay, the last two we already know. We already know, right? So Final Fantasy XIV, the second most, and then World of Warcraft, the most played. And I think, personally, these two are a little bit up to... a little bit up for discussion on which one is actually in the lead here, because I think it depends on the time of year, what's going on with the particular games, right? If an expansion is good or not. But yeah, I guess maybe that's true for the beginning of 2023, that WoW is taking the lead because of Dragonflight or whatever. Both hugely popular MMOs for very different reasons, but yeah, dang. That was a good video. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot. LazyPeon makes amazing videos. You guys should check out his other videos if you get the chance. Give him a subscribe, all that good stuff.